back to another episode. Today, we are going to be talking about friendship as the foundation of your romantic relationships. My name is Amy Lloyd from Ascension Wellness, and I am here with my dear friend and colleague, Shanon Dawn.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you again.
So one of the things that Shanon and I were chatting about is, why are you with the person you're with? You know, I think that Shanon, in just thinking of my own past relationships and people I know well, I think that that's a question few of us ever really stop and sit with. Even if we ever think of the question, I don't know that we really sit with it long enough to find an answer.
True. Sometimes we're blinded by attraction, right? Sometimes we just need someone beside us because we're lonely. Other times we do actually take time to ponder, and it may take the second or third or fourth relationship to get there. Maybe some of us strike it the first time, we don't know. But the older we get, the more we realize how important it is to be methodical and choose for the fact of how we can grow together mutually, intellectually, and in lifestyle, goals, all that stuff.
Yes, that's so important. I'm really glad that you mentioned all of that, because the one thing you did not say is attraction. I think that for many of us, of course, not all, but most relationships start with attraction.
Right.
But it can never end there.
No, that can't be the only reason you're together. Definitely not. And we've seen this, the only way we see this is either through people we know, or of course there's Hollywood, where their lives are out on the open, and the best of the best, like Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, or whoever you can think of, they had the most, what I thought was the epitome of attraction. That's what it appeared as anyway. And they're not together now. So it cannot be the only foundation. It cannot. It will get you far. It got them a beautiful life and children and all that stuff. But it's not necessarily going to be a lifetime.
I would also argue that one thing it cannot get you is friendship. And so if we think of, I always think of friendship as the basis of any successful relationship, but especially when we're talking about romantic partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, spouses, especially, someone that we make a lifelong commitment to. And so what is friendship? How is that different than any other type of relationship? And I think for me personally, friendship looks like honesty, trust, integrity, and compatibility to the point where you just really enjoy this person's company.
Right. It's not tried. It's an actual effortless scenario most days anyway.
Exactly. Most
right.
days. Yes.
So, we talk about commonalities, the trust and the integrity, and evolving into the next levels together. But why else do we choose someone, do you think? I would say it's because they choose to see the real you and respond to the real you, not respond to the version of you they hope you'll become.
Right. That's so important. I think that a lot of us, when we are not in a good place inside, we have a tendency to project our problems onto other people, needing them to fix us somehow or to be what we need them to be in that moment. And when we start from a genuine friendship, we are each in a place where we can be honest with ourselves so that we can work through our own internal whatever. We all have baggage, we all have stuff. And so we have to be able to be honest enough with ourselves to see that and to work on it. And then that's what they are able to pick up on, this other person in that real friendship. They're able to pick up on that, the reality of who we are, not the wounds that we might carry as well.
Yeah. So being vulnerable, right? Showing your weaknesses and your strengths, and then, accepting of each other, of those places, right? And helping each other build back up if we fall down. But also allowing our partners to find their own way to build themselves back up, but being the subtle support. So there's, you know, the direct support, and then there's the kind of background support, to allow them to feel like they can, even though you're not going to necessarily help them out of it, which is quite methodical, and it would take a lot of effort, maybe, you know, but that way it's more sustainable, right?
Exactly. And honoring to who they are and to what they are capable of.
Yeah. And, you know, I think it's also how they handle negativity in general, how we all handle it differently. If it's funny because it's always about what we say, how we say it, and it also is about what we don't say. So, you know, anything to do with negativity and that foundation of just understanding each other, and again, respecting each other for the other person, not necessarily for ourselves.
Right. Seeing them for who they are, not projecting onto them.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the next one was attraction. Right? How do we feel about attraction?
You know, attraction, I think, is, well, it's a great starter. A lot of times, not always, sometimes we meet people situationally, but a lot of times attraction, physical attraction, is what kind of kicks off the whole thing. But
yeah, I guess on that, but I just wanted to see if there was anything else we left out.
Well, I think that attraction can play its role throughout a relationship.
Yep.
You know, bringing sparks back in. If
right.
we are able to stay attracted to our partner, then there's going to be those moments of fireworks and deep reconnection.
Yeah.
It can't always only be that.
I think attraction is also, you know, I think Esther Perel made this point, so it's really her point, but just seeing your partner shine, like seeing them as the leader of things, seeing them in their best possible ways, in a crowd, on stage, whatever it is that they flourish the most in, that's a point of attraction. Just knowing that they're able to do this glorious something. It could just, not just, but it could be being a mom, being a dad. It doesn't have to be, you know, superstardom. It's just, where do you see your partner and think, I am so lucky to be with this person? I mean, if they're standing on their head and juggling glasses of water, whatever it is, you know, it's just that point of attraction where you appreciate the essence of who they are.
I love that definition. I'm so glad that you shared that. That's just so powerful. And it also, I think, comes back to basics, doesn't it? Because those are the things that originally in practice to someone, even if we're not consciously aware of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Exactly.
And a minute ago, you said something else that stood out to me. You used the word evolve.
Yeah.
And I think that if we're talking about long-term relationships, we are all always growing and changing. I mean, some days I look in the mirror and I don't recognize myself because this is not what I looked like when I was 20 years old. And so the same can be said of our partners and our relationship in general. And so how are we each evolving? Are we on the same track? Are we, you know, at least parallel, if not growing toward even closer and closer? Are we growing away from one another?
Or is one stationary and one is expanding? So that example be a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad, and the other partner is, you know, the corporate ladder person, which is a different kind of involvement, right? So one is more or less stationary, the other one's going crazy. That works too. You know, there's all kinds of variables to this. So, you know, there's no quite a cookie cutter scenario, but it's as long as you're happy, right?
Right.
And there's open communication about that, because actually some couples can be jealous. The ones that are staying stationary and at home raising kids or whatever, sometimes they could at some point snap and feel, hey, you know, I want that too. I don't want to just, not the just part. It's beautiful to stay at home, but there is an element of letting go of sacrificing, you know, something else in your life that might have been also important.
Right, exactly.
And can your partner appreciate that?
And that's exactly what I was about to speak to. That's got to be one of those things, going back to the friendship.
Yeah.
You have to be able to be honest with your partner because they are your friend, right? And if it's a healthy relationship, and we have to be able to hear our partners when they tell us the hard things like that. You know, I don't want to stay at home any longer, or I don't want to climb the corporate ladder anymore. I want to be the one to stay home.
True. That's very true. Exactly. I agree with that.
And so in those moments, you know, you're really talking about moments of tension we might feel in ourselves when we recognize that our situation is not what we want somehow. And also potentially tension in the relationship. If one of the partners says, I'm not happy, we need to change. And the other person is happy, like, well, there's this push and pull, like, how do we work through this? And so, you know, in those moments of tension, going back to the basics, remembering that above all else, you are friends first and always. Above all else, you are honest with yourselves, with each other, honoring to each other. And those are great opportunities to recommit to yourself, to your partner, and to the relationship that you have built.
Right. And it doesn't always work, you know, but we are here definitely giving you all these tools and strategies, and definitely watch these videos with your partner and see if anything rings a bell and resonates, and, you know, have a true conversation about it. Maybe something will unravel and become better because of it. We don't know, right? But that's why we do these videos for everyone, so that hopefully we all evolve together.
Exactly. I love that. All evolve together. And ask yourself and your partner the question, what does it look like to recommit? What are we committed to? And how can we revamp that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how serious is it? 1 to 10, you know, and then a time frame. When do we want to be solidified? Is it an ongoing process, or do we want a, you know, specific line where we know it's happening? And what would we do if it's not? How are we keeping, you know, how are we keeping each other on track? That kind of stuff. And it's a deep conversation. Not every couple is going to have it because not everyone's capable, but again, you never know. So try, and you never know.
All of those questions, guys, are really powerful tools in your tool belt to sit with, to converse about, to journal about. Rewatch these videos, write down all of those questions, because they are really going to take you deeper inside of yourself and your relationship.
Yep. And it's always about the commitment you have with one another and how much you value each other's commitments. It's about the pheromones in your relationship, how attracted you are. Keep all of this going. Don't give up. Don't give up, right? We want you guys to flourish. We want it to be powerful. But of course, what you have to do is what you have to do. So figure that out. And we're always going to be here if you need us with more videos to help you out.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you so much, Shanon. This has been an amazing conversation. Thanks. You, audience. And we look forward to seeing you in the next video.
Absolutely. Have a great, great day.